A blockbuster merger in the drugstore industry. Walgreens says it is buying rival Rite Aid for almost $9.5 billion. The deal unites two of the country's top three drugstore chains by revenue. Bill Cohan is a contributing editor for Bloomberg TV and Vanity Fair. Bill, good morning.
Morning, Nora.
This is going to create a massive drug chain. What does it mean for Walgreens?
Well, for Walgreens, which is the acquirer, it'll boost them. This is the number 2 drugstore chain acquiring the number 3 drugstore chain. It's a blockbuster deal. It's a big deal for deal size. It's $17 billion all total, including debt and equity. And it's a big deal for consumers because it basically creates a massive challenger to CVS, the leader in the drugstore industry. And it creates, unfortunately, 99% market share for the two of them in the drugstore industry.
So there are antitrust implications?
There are huge antitrust implications, Charlie. I mean, this is a merger that in the old days would probably never be allowed to go through. And I think it's a real test of the Obama administration's sort of Justice Department at this time in their administration.
So it doesn't sound like it's a good news for consumers if you have such a big monopoly.
Well, right. This would be a major duopoly in a very concentrated industry to begin with. The question is, they would argue, the drugstore chains argue, that gives them more leverage over the drug companies, forces them to lower the prices they charge on prescription drugs, and they can pass that savings on to consumers. Whether that really happens in the real world remains to be seen. When you don't have as much choice scale, then you end up having to pay whatever the vendor will sell you.
But aren't these big drugstore chains facing a lot of competition from the mail order pharmacies?
Of course. Yes, from mail order pharmacies, from the Walmarts of the world, from the Costcos of the world. Yes, that's what they will argue to the Justice Department, that they've got competition coming out of everywhere, and that this is just a sort of an old-fashioned way of reaching consumers through actual stores, and that it's okay to consolidate that. This industry has been consolidating for probably 25 years. So this is unfortunately nothing new, but this is the final blow.
Do you expect more mergers in American business?
Charlie, this has been the number one, this is on its way to being the number 1 year in mergers and acquisitions of all time. And I don't think anybody would have anticipated that. Some people wonder, does that mean, it's sort of the last gasp for mergers generally this cycle, and it's because the stock prices are so high that executives are feeling very confident and willing to do deals.
Thanks.
Great to see you, Bill.
Nice to be here.